Well, thanks for taking the time, David, and joining us. We wanted everyone to get to meet the founder of Mylio and to hear in your own words, what made you decide to start this company and to take us all into this journey of having a tool that helps you organize and preserve your memories and your media.
So did you want me to say something?
Yeah, I want you to tell me what made you decide to start Mylio.
So that we could have this webinar.
Excellent. And here we are. We accomplished it.
Yeah, so we're done. My life.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. So, if you come and visit our office, when you walk in the door, a lot of people don't notice it, but there's a mission statement on the wall. And that mission statement is to change the way the world remembers. So there's two ways to think about. Okay, there's three ways you can think about Mylio. You could think about it as a photo manager. Now, when I started the company in 2012, there were no people on board, not a line of code had been written. And but even in those days, there were photo managers. There were, for instance, Picasa and iPhoto and a variety, AC/DC. There were a variety of them. And I never particularly had any interest in developing yet another photo manager. So the thing about photo managers is they have lots of technical features, but it's pretty unusual to find somebody who talks about, I managed to tell the story of my life using AC/DC or iPhoto or something like that. It's more about, I went on trips, or I took pictures at a birthday party, or I have a lot of pictures sitting around in a box, and the photo manager helped me organize them. Now, the image that I had from the beginning was a grandfather, which at the time I wasn't, but I am one now, sitting there with his grandkids, and the questions come up like, where did you live when you went to college? What did your first house look like? Do you have a picture of our mother when she was a little girl? What was Israel like when you used to be there in the old days? And so I had an image of being able to answer all of those questions and many more. And that's about memories. So in a way, Mylio is about your heart. It's about, there's a story that, do we have screen access here? Or is this just audio?
No, you can share your screen.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring up my Mylio. So this is, it's a little hard to tell that this is a calendar because you're seeing years, but if I go down a level, now it looks much more like a calendar because you see months. And then my mouse is scrolling in a very odd way, but now it's also a little hard to read these letters. That's something we're planning to fix, but they're not meant to be read at a distance. But my mother died just before COVID, but we unveiled her tombstone just after COVID so that people could be there. So if I click in that event, then I see the pictures from the event. So, but then if I go into October itself, now this really looks like a calendar. And even though I take a lot of pictures, I didn't take pictures every day. So if we go a little farther forward, so while I was in Toronto, which is where the unveiling was, I went to one of my favorite restaurants called FK Kitchen, and I've been going there forever, but I can never remember the name of the owner. There's me, and that's the owner. But if I go over to this little icon and turn on his name is Frank Harhisgar. Maybe one day I'll even remember that, but I don't need to because I have Mylio here to help me with that. So,
and you have it with you no matter where you are, right?
On my phone, on my tablet, on my computer, wherever I am, I have it with me. So, why did I build Mylio? So that's just showing that it really is a calendar. But the thing that makes this calendar different than any other calendar, and the reason we have a decades view is this calendar goes back to when my mother was born in 1923. And then if we sort of look forward about 11 years old, it says Shula sledding. So I'm going to tap on that. Now, one thing you'll notice is there are two pictures here and they're both dated, but the date is winter 1934. So those are what we call fuzzy dates. So if you think that my mother ever, except at the moment it happened, knew the year, month, day, hour, minute, second, when this picture with her in it sledding was taken, you're wrong. But we have the ability to specify that a picture was taken in a year, in a season, in a month, or in a day. And then, here's another example. Turn on the face tags. There's my mother. So I have about 17,000 instances of my mother's face in my Mylio. And you can believe if you want that I tagged them all one by one, but there aren't enough hours in the day to do that. So Mylio's face recognition recognized my mother from when she was a little girl until she was 98 years old. And then if we keep going forward, here's a picture of me as a baby. And then we could have a contest to tell if people can, which one is me, can they tell which one is me, even without the face tags, but probably nobody has trouble doing that. So let me going to jump forward to something else. So why did I develop Mylio? Because I want to be able to have all of this, but it goes a level deeper. So come on. Where is it? Where's the word? Okay, so what? Come on. Okay, so we spent the first 2 years of the company's history building Mylio, and then we had our first announcement. The product was pretty different than the way it is now. And we had this guy show up as a speaker, and he was a Mylio user, and I always tell people that if you use Mylio and put your pictures in, you're going to discover pictures you didn't even know you had. And then he was really emotional, and he discovered a picture of his daughter doing something, and he was sitting on an airplane, and suddenly he was in tears, and he couldn't even explain to the person next to him why. And I thought, okay, that's what I always tell people, but it hadn't happened to me. So my father died in a plane crash when I was 13. And normally as part of this demo, I sort of get into that event, but I'm not going to do that. But my oldest memory of my father is him and me sitting on a beach about an hour north of Toronto. And, the thing with these old memories is you never know if they're really true or not. The human brain and heart is a kind of funny thing. So I was sitting actually on a plane and looking at pictures. So there's my mother, my sister, and me. I don't need to turn the face tags on for people to know which one is me, right? I'm the one with the goofy glasses. There I am with my father. There's my father himself. There we are near some other beach. And there's the memory. And now I'm the one that's in tears. So there right in front of you, you have half the reason that, I wanted Mylio to exist. So we can all have our life along with us all the time and organized in a way that we can find it and use it and enjoy it and remember it and all the rest. Now, there's another thing, though, because Mylio, I also think of Mylio as my second brain. So, for example, I'm right now, I have a house that I've lived in for 20 years, and I just sold it. And then I bought another house, and I just closed in both of them. And there's like tons of paperwork related to that. So, okay, let's say I go here and I type in Chisholm, which is sort of how I have named that house. Okay, so I want folders and Chisholm house. There we go. So here's the folder that has all the legal stuff related to my Chisholm house. It has a subfolder about a dispute with the neighbor that wasn't my dispute, but I've resolved it relating to some trees on an easement. There's a bunch of documents from the title company, not very many. And then there's all the stuff related to the sale of the house. Mostly it's a combination of PDFs and Word documents, but there's some pictures and there's a couple of spreadsheets. So now another example of Mylio is my second brain. So if I'm somewhere, this has happened to me, like I'm in a restaurant and I get a call and a question comes up about the house, I can look those same documents up on my phone, just like that. And it takes about as long as it did on this big computer. Now, another example of what I do with Mylio being my second brain is I can never keep up with all my reading. So what used to happen is that I would like come across an article in a magazine and I didn't have time to read it. So I would tear out the pages, staple them and put them in a pile. Or I would come across a chapter of a book that I wanted to read and I'd copy all the pages on a copier, staple them and put them in a pile. I mean, just, you get the general idea. And I'd get on a plane with a bag of paper. And then I would measure the success of the trip by how much lighter the bag was at the end of the trip versus the beginning. Now, when I find something I want to read, I use the share framework, sometimes on my phone, sometimes on my tablet, and on the computer, I just go directly to the folder and put it in. And I have a reading pile, which always weighs the same. That's the only thing is I lose the satisfaction of the reading pile getting lighter. But on the other hand, the count goes down. So this is my reading pile.
David, that accessibility to everything is something that I personally found really interesting about Mylio. I don't think you know this story. So David and I used to work together. He was my client before I came to work for Mylio, and he turned me on to Mylio, and I installed it and started using it. And I thought it was pretty cool, but I never really got the full power of it until one Christmas I was visiting some friends. And I was sitting with them, and my friend had received a book about donkeys as a Christmas present. And I asked him, I said, Earl, why did they give you a book about donkeys? And he says, well, you don't know this, but donkeys, they're very dear to me. Like one of my dreams is to buy some land someday and create a donkey sanctuary where donkeys can go retire and live the rest of their life. And believe it or not, I had been to a donkey sanctuary. All I had with me was my phone. I'm like, well, Earl, I've been to a donkey sanctuary. There's a lady in Bonaire, a Dutch lady that did exactly that, because in Bonaire, donkeys run wild. So I'm like, I wonder if Mylio has those photos. So I pulled up Mylio on my phone and I typed the word donkey, and sure enough, all these donkeys came up. And I just handed the phone over to him, and he could see these donkeys in this sanctuary that we were feeding carrots to. And that's when it really clicked for me that I now had complete access to my library, and every story could have a visual to go along with it, no matter where I was, no matter what device I had with me.
Yep. So I'm going to show one more thing, and then I think I've answered the question. It's just a different mode. So this is the map that's in Mylio. Okay, come on, Mylio. There's all the places I've been. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to Figuer I forget, does your name have an A at the end of it?
Yeah, but I'm already there. It came up.
Oh, yeah, but that's because I started to type. Okay. So I'm gonna put this in. It should be filtering the map. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Wait,
Just click on my name by person.
this one here?
Just below that, the one that says by person. Yeah.
Okay. So we haven't been very many places. Now, if I type in, here's another one. By person.
I think what you're saying is that I need to travel with you more.
Yeah, so there's places I've been with my friend Art Wolf, and there's, if I keep scrolling, you'll find more places. So. Yeah, that's, I mean, this is both second brain and second heart, both at the same time. Everything always with me. And then, sometimes it's memories that I need for legal or other purposes. Like if I go back to the folders. So when I go on a trip, I have a folder. So this is all file system folders. So I can also find them from outside Mylio. I have a folder for every trip from before I take the trip, and then all the documents related to the trip go into the folder. I just send them there. So this is the trip I just got back from. And there's a bunch of just stuff. It's just where I go to find everything. Now that's the second brain. But if I back out, so actually I can find this in the calendar because I put them in here. Let's go to the calendar. Calendar. Let's go to this year. We're almost there. Yeah, so there's parts of my trip that are already in there. I apologize, my Mylio is a little slow today.
Well, when you upgrade and you have a Mylio Photos library, it takes a little bit of time for it to catch up.
Yeah, so that's
and I
the
think
hard.
you just upgraded.
Yeah, these pictures bring back memories, and yeah.
Well, I think you have accomplished the mission of giving us another way to access our memories, and more importantly, access from the heart the things that are important to us, whether it's locations or people or places that we visited.
Yep.